Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about something that literally changed the trajectory of my entire life. I had a decision to make. I was wondering, how do I get rich? And you may be wondering the same thing. You may be thinking to yourself, how do I get rich? And I think we all, to some degree, want more money. We all want to have things and we want to have experiences and be able to help our family and ourselves, right? So we all want to know, how do we get rich? So there were three main options when I asked myself this question. And you may have already come to these conclusions yourself, but I want to describe each one of them and walk you through how I thought about it and how I came to my conclusion. So there's a few ways you can get rich. You can start a business. You can be in real estate, right? You can invest in real estate. You can do the stock market thing. I guess you can invent something as well, right? You can get royalties from music. You can invent a product or a software or something like that. So there's four ways, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not an inventor. I don't have an original thought in my head. So that one was kind of out for me. I'm like, I'm not a music guy. I don't know anything about software. I'm not going to invent the better will. So I kind of put that one aside. So I was like, okay, so I have three main options that are pretty standard, universal, right? You can, throw all of your earned income into stocks. You can, get into real estate, and buy properties and house hack them and fix them and flip them and rent them and burr them and Airbnb them. Or you can start a business, right? You can pick something that you're really, really passionate about or that you just think will make a lot of money and throw all of yourself at it, right? Because that is your job. Your new job is making that business successful. So you're not working 40 hours a week, not 60, not 80, but like 100 plus hours, right? Because you don't eat. Your family doesn't have a place to live unless you make that successful, right? If that's what you're doing. I mean, and of course you can start a side business. You can kind of, work it on the side and try to build it up, right? And that's probably a more safer way to go. But that means, okay, now you're working a full-time job and now you're trying to build this business on the side. And what happens if a customer calls or a potential customer calls and you're at work? I feel like that kind of hard to manage. So let me and I kind of already, you guys know I'm a real estate guy, but I just want to explain how the whole process worked out for me. Is I thought about doing a business and I said, okay, Brandon, what kind of businesses would you start? I don't know. I don't know what kind of business I would start. I don't know the first thing about business, really, right? And I took some business classes at a community college. I read some books. I tried to educate myself on the subject because I wanted to make an informed decision. And when it comes down to it, there is a lot there is a lot of stuff involved with owning and operating your own business, especially as a sole proprietor, right? Because you're starting it, you're something brand new. You have to have a website, you have to have a product, you have to have a service, you have to fulfill that, you have to have people answering the phones, you got to answer the phones, you have to collect money, you have to pay taxes. I mean, literally, sales, marketing, accounting, product fulfillment, product creation. I mean, literally every component of a business. You have a front desk person, somebody's got to be answering these calls. You got to have a legal department, you got to have contracts. So there's so much involved with starting a business. And I'm going to be honest, I did a lot of research and I think it was like 70, and I could be wrong, but when I was looking at it, it was like 70% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. And I said, ugh, 70%? Like, what makes me think that I'm better than 70% of the people who are trying to start a business right now? And, I mean, there's landscaping, there's pressure washing, there's accounting service, there's buying a business from somebody that already has one going. You just have to take over it and try to make it better. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. You can buy a car wash, you can build a car wash, you can buy a gas station. I mean, there's literally infinite possibilities, right? You walk down the street, every single one of those probably has a business in them, right? Some type of business. I mean, a liquor store, whatever, right? Like, I mean, literally any type of business, whatever. And I didn't feel super passionate about any of these potential businesses because I think they all make money. They all have, revenue. I mean, obviously there's, everything I just listed, somebody's running one of those businesses very successfully. I mean, cleaning trash cans, picking up trash, picking up dog poop. There's businesses for everything, right? Cleaning your clothes and bringing them to you. Glasses, people selling hats, like all of it, right? Um, Painting houses, pressure washing houses. But I just really didn't feel like, gosh, man, I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's really stressful. Like, I was like, man, what if I throw all of my money? In one of my previous videos, I talked about I saved up $20,000 in a year. What if I throw all of my $20,000 at this business and work 100 hours a week and it fails? That wasn't really an option for me. I was like, that cannot happen. That cannot happen, right? I literally killed myself for a year trying to get this money. And I sacrificed so much, and I was like, I cannot lose. So I was like, I just don't feel confident in a business. That's what it came down to. It's like, I don't feel that I can present something to the world and make it uber successful, right? And here was my real concern. I thought I would earn myself a job. I, I'm sure I can make a business good enough where I can sustain myself, but that's all it'll ever be. It'll be a lifestyle business, which means I'm working at a job that is my business and I can't scale it. That was what I was really afraid about, is like, man, what if I make a business and it's just my job? What if I get stuck doing everything and I can't scale? I'm just going to be stuck doing that job forever. So that was really scary to me. I was just like, I don't want to do that. And I don't want it to fail. So then I looked at stocks, and I said, okay, well, people are making lots of money off of this. I mean, there's people who are, Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio. There's all kinds of people that are really successful at this. And I said, well, will I be one of those guys? Probably not. Let's be honest. It's really hard to be in the 1% of anything, right? Stock investors, real estate investors, business owners, that's tough. Would I dedicate the required amount of time to learn this, right? Because it is stock trading or investing is a skill. It is a very difficult skill that requires a lot of attention, because you're not necessarily trading. I mean, again, I'm not an expert, but I mean, you're trading off of people's emotions, right? You're trading off of fear. You're investing based off of what the Federal Reserve's doing. You're trading based off of what the news is saying, right? There's just so much volatility in that, and I have no control over any of those things. I can't control what the Fed does. I can't control what you do as an investor. I can't control what Warren Buffett does. I don't have any insider knowledge or trading, right? I'm not a member of Congress, so I don't I don't have a chance to make any laws or influence any businesses or decisions, or give them credits for whatever, reduce their tax liability. None of that stuff. And here's the other thing. I can only make money off of the money I already have. So that saying, if it takes money to make money, in the stock market, that's actually 100% true. There's no way around it. You have to put in money to make money. Like, there's no way around it, right? Like, if you hey, all I got is $10, well, throw $10 into the stock market, let it ride and see what happens, right? But there is a strong possibility that you are not. What if you make 100% on your money? What if you pick the best stock, that goes up 1,000%, but all you have is $100. You're not going to get rich off of that, right? Let's say you make all the right moves, but you don't have enough money, right? There's no leverage. There's no, I mean, yes, you can use margin, right? You can, but gosh, that's super risky, right? A lot of people have lost a lot of money doing that. You can do options, you can do covered calls, you can, foreign exchange, of currency, right? There's a bunch of different ways you can go about that. And it seems really technical. And my understanding is that you have to be on it all the time. I've seen stuff online, I've read books where people have had a position in a market and they step away from their computer for a few hours, lost $1 million. Boop, just gone because you weren't paying attention. And I thought to myself, am I the guy who is willing to be at my computer nonstop, 24/7, watching all of the markets, everything, you know what I mean? Like, am I that guy? Am I so analytical that I can have 10 different screens up and watch everything all the time? No, I'm not. I really don't care that much. I don't think I can make money doing that. Like, I can't buy, sell, buy, sell. And then the other thing too is when you're trading, and I think this is what gets a lot of people, they're not aware of it, is all of this buying and selling you're doing, you're being taxed. You're getting taxed on all that. So let's say you make $100 profit, tax. If it's, obviously if you're buying and selling the same day, right? If you're day trading, you're getting taxed on all that stuff, right? So you make $100 here, $1,000 here, $500 there, you lose $700, right? Your tax situation is so complicated, and it's just it's you're paying the highest possible gains, capital gains on that, that you have to make just a crazy amount of money to make it worth it, right? If you end up profiting $50,000, give 30% of that to the government. So you didn't really make what you thought you made. Same could be said for real estate. So let's jump into that, right? So I chose real estate as my vehicle for wealth, because for a few reasons. I can't fail at real estate. It's a building. It is already there. Right? Somebody built it and it's already there. So I can't mess that up. Obviously, make sure it's on a solid foundation. Very important. I can use leverage. This is the really cool part, right? When I had that $20,000, there's only so much of a business I could get started with $20,000. There's so much investing I could have done in the stock market with $20,000. But with 13,000 of that 20,000, I was able to gain access to a $400,000 house. That is leverage. And with that, I was not only in charge and control of the asset, I was able to rent out the rooms. I was able to improve the property. I was able to take depreciation off of the property. I was able to cash flow from the property. So many benefits of real estate that it really made it kind of an obvious choice. Like I knew no matter what, any one of those three things I picked, business, real estate, or stocks, I was going to have to learn a massive amount, right? Because I didn't really know anything about any of those things. But I was just like, okay, what can I do to get rich? And, I have no like X factor. I don't have a talent. Like I can't be a model. I'm not an influencer yet. Click the, subscribe and like button. I'm not, a powerful person. I don't have a trust fund, right? So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And it's got to be one of these three things. And I'm going to, whatever it is, I'm going to have to learn a lot about it. And it really came down for me where I was just like, real estate is the answer. I can use leverage. I can use other people's money. I can improve the property. I can cash flow. I'm not the only one on the hook, right? Because I have renters who want a place to live. I'll make it nice and they'll live here and pay me to do so most of the time, right? Sometimes they don't pay, and that happens. But most of the time I have help with my properties, right? So like a business, it's just by myself. And stock market, it's all by myself, right? Like it's me versus the world. I have to, I'm my business, I have to make it better than everybody else's so people will buy my stuff. Stock market, it's me versus every other investor there, and I'm trying to be better than all of them. But with real estate, the bank helps me buy the property, the renters help me pay for it. So I'm like, I'm kind of not alone in this. So that really gave me a lot of confidence saying, well, as long as I can make it work, that was my biggest thing. As long as I can make it work. And that was like a feeling, right? For some of you guys, you're like, oh, I'm going to start a business and I'll make it work hell or high water. Awesome. Go do that. That's your thing. Or of like, hey, if you guys are just like, hey, I'm smart. I like watching the markets. I like watching macro and micro economics and learning about stuff. Then go do the stock thing, right? Like people are making money on all of these things, right? But for me, it was just real estate because, I could sell it, I could keep it, I could rent it, I could burr it, I could fix it up, I could Airbnb it, I could midterm, short term, whatever, right? It gives me a lot of options. And the thing that I just, recently realized was by getting a piece of property and improving the value, I could take a loan or a home equity line of credit against that equity. And I can use that money, I can access the equity and buy other things like another investment property. So there's a lot to be said in real estate. And I would, please, make your own decisions. But if you guys are kind of where I'm at or where I was when I was 22, 23, 24, man, how do I get rich? This was the explanation. I literally went through all of these things in my head. I researched them. I listened to people online, podcasts, here on YouTube, starting a business, getting into real estate, day trading stocks, foreign exchange currency, side hustle, this, that, and the other. And it really came down to real estate because the bank won't give you a loan on a property if it's a really bad deal. People won't rent from you if it's in a really bad location, right? So like you just, learning these things, you're like, oh, okay, what part of my town is a bad part of the town? Probably don't want to own any real estate there because everybody knows that's the bad part of town. Where do all of the tourists go when they come to my town, if they do come to your town? Well, that might be a good place to open up an Airbnb. Right? So there's a lot to learn in any of those things that you do, but that's how I came to the conclusion as real estate is the go-to vehicle for me to explode my wealth. And now I'm a little over, I did some math last night, kind of thinking of like, I want to impress people. So my net worth is a little over 600,000 now. I'm 31 years old. 600,000 net worth. I could sell all of my properties right now. Obviously with, paying realtors and things of that nature, I'd probably walk away, with like a cool $500,000. Not bad. $500,000 at 31. But I can do better. So I'm going to keep sharing my story with you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or anything in the comments. Catch you next time.